Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. We start here with chapstick. My name is Dion. This is the crazy troll nation of YouTube. The crazy because we just do things sometimes here, and sometimes I even surprise myself. I do curse on my channel sometimes. I remember to say that because I almost did. The troll part of the crazy troll nation is not caring too much about what the beauty community standard of beauty is. You set the standard for yourself. They'll say you need to use a certain brand, a certain tool, a certain technique. No, use whatever you want to use, however you want to use it to get your makeup on the way you want it to. And beyond all of that, love yourself for who you are, for how you look. Self-acceptance and self-love. Embrace your natural features, enhance them if you want to, but don't feel like you have to. Don't feel like you have to wear face paint to be put together or to be socially acceptable. Love you for who you are. That's the bottom line. And thank you for being here. This is what else you will see. I did something today, and I'm about to do something today, and I surprised myself. I'm not going to go into palette details because I know you've seen them. Okay, that came out funny. I know you've seen swatches, not on tan skin, not that I can think of. Well, I haven't seen any on tan skin, but you have seen swatches. And so we also have heard you can get similar looks from both palettes, and so we're going to experiment and see if that is true. So when I was looking at these, surprised myself because I didn't intend on getting these so soon. Looking at these, hoping I can hold them in a way, I am so freaking clumsy, that won't blind you. Okay, here we go. Looking at these, I see 6 shades that could possibly be dupes. And I'm saying that based on the color and the finish. And so I'm not including the blacks because in Natasha's, it's a powder, and in the Huda Beauty, it's a cream. So I'm not counting those. But if you look carefully, and I am holding it for a while on purpose, there are 6 shades, I'm trying to get all the glares off, that can possibly be dupes. And so the 6 shades that I see that could be dupes, those are the 6 that we're going to do today. And I want y'all to tell me which palette is which on what eye. So one eye is going to be Natasha Denona, one eye is going to be the Huda Beauty, the Huda Beauty, the Empowerment Palette. And so I got to make sure I edit properly. For the possible dupe shades, I am going to use the same brushes. I do have doubles of some brushes. Some I have 4 of that same brush. And so I'm going to use the same brushes to give the shadows the best chance and not be like, well, maybe it was the brush. I used this for this one and this for that one. And so my eyes are already primed. This primer is done and I keep trying to scrape it, but it is dry. So that's why this is looking like that. I have on the Estee Lauder 4in concealer just in this area. Under my eyes, the only thing I have on is the Beverly Hills MD Cosmeceuticals Radiate and Revive Hydrating Eye Cream and chapstick, and the Lottie pencil for brows. That is the only thing on my face today. Not going to do lower lash line yet because I want to just get these shadows on, see what they're going to look like, and actually really see if they are really dupes in this palette. And so let me stop pulling out brushes and being rude. So I'm going to finish pulling out the brushes and we're going to jump the hell in. So can you guess which is what? I'm going to hold up both the palettes again as carefully as possible so you can figure out or let me know which palette is on which eye. Let me know down below. Pause the video. We have 2 Esom V27. We're going to take Do It, and we're going to press that here. These are going to be monochromatic looks. We're just getting the shades on to see how similar of a look we can do. So that's going to go there on this eye. We're going to take Babies. I do not like that for a name of a shade. Putting babies on my lid. Like, let me be quiet and just apply the shadow. Hourglass number 3, we're going to take Courageous. We're going to take Vision. A clean hourglass number 3, and we're going to take Confident. And with the tip of the brush, we're just lightly sweeping that across just to start our blend. We're going to take Aspiration. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Just lightly sweeping with the tip of the brush that had Aspiration on it, not adding any additional shadow. We're going to take 2 Esom V33 brushes, and we're going to go into Big Dreams. And we're going to put that along this top line. We're tapping first because this primer is so tacky that I'm not always able just to sweep a shadow straight across at first. I need to place it, and then I can go back and blend it. And I am tapping a little bit right here and feathering inward. We're going to go into Nurture and do the same thing on this side. We have 2 Scott Barnes number 62 brushes, and we're going to take Get It, and we're going to put that also on the line, but we're not going to buff it out like we did the previous shade. And I'm not sure if that's doing anything, or if it's supposed to do anything. I don't think it did anything. And on me, I think this would kind of blend in anyway. We're going to go into Unity, do the same thing. I'm laughing because some shades are really non-shades, and it may be because it's on a darker shade. I don't know. I'm going to go back with Get It, just to try and get a little lightness right here, because there's lightness here, but I think the tones over here are just lighter. Wow. 2 Esom V09. This is Manifested. And we're just going to put that right here. And we're going to take Thrill and put that right here. We're going to take 2 clean blending brushes because I don't remember which blending brushes were for what. And actually, these are not blending brushes, but we're going to use them for it. These are Fenty 230. And so we're just going to just use the tip of the brush and just brush that over to blend that. I'm taking the clean one and brush that over. So now we need to figure out lower lash line. We have 2 Scott Barnes number 60. We're going to go into Purpose, the black cream, gelée, whatever that people say it does not dry down. We're going to put that as a liner under here. We're going to take the clean one and go into Black is Black, and we're going to put that as a liner on this side. Because this is a powder, I'm not sure if it's cream tip powder or not. We're going to stamp it versus this side when we just swiped it. Because this side is a little more blown out, we're going to go back with this brush, not adding any more of that shade, but we're just going to make this line a little bit thicker. Surprisingly, I have more fallout on under this eye than this one, and so I'm just going to take just a random brush, Scott Barnes number 64. He ain't random. And we're just going to brush that away. and it did not brush away. And you might not notice it because my cheeks are red. I did go out today and have a mask on, but this right here, I think it's that center shade, I think, because I see just like a whole puddle. And that's why for me, putting powder under my eye doesn't work, because the fallout sometimes isn't here, it's here, and sometimes it's even down here. And so that's not wiping away. So what we'll do is we will actually use a highlighter that's that color, and we're going to cover that up. That's how we do that. I know that looked crazy, sorry. What else are we going to do? Lower lash line. Fenty number 220. We are going to take Keep Going, and we're going to put that under this eye to set this gel shadow, since people have said it doesn't dry down. And also just to blow it out a little bit, make it just a tiny bit smoky. We're going to take the clean one and go into Nurture. I have a feeling I used Nurture already. Did I use Nurture already? I don't know. I would have to watch it back. Pay attention when I edit. I first used the tip of the brush to place it, and then now I'm using the side of the brush just to blow it out and to blend it. I'm considering using both the blacks for upper lash line, but if this really doesn't dry, it's going to end up here. It's going to end up here, because if I look up, my entire strip of lid you see is now up in the puff. So, and that's the issue I've had before. When I do a line that's too thick, it'll transfer because the puff. But I am curious to see what it looks like as a liner. So we are going to do it Esum T03. Or we're actually going to take Worthy, the brown one. I forget whose video it was I saw. She put this on, it did not really show up. And she was lighter than me. But we're going to, that's not going to show up because this is dark. Okay, scratch that idea. Put the clean brush away. We're just going to use Max Paint Pot and Black Mirror for our upper lash line, and we're going to put on Sue's Boost Mascara Primer from Lancome and Scott Barnes Pumped Up Mascara, and then we will come back and figure out a lip. I'm going to put on the MAC NC 44.5 Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation all over using a Real Techniques blush brush. And I'm only really doing this to camouflage the highlight, and that did actually work. Yay me. I also put some under my eyes. I'm going to use the same brush and go into a Natasha Denona blush duo. This one is 07 Neutral Beige, and we're going to take this side and we're going to use that same brush we just used for our foundation, and we're going to just pop this here on both sides of our face. We're going to take MAC Step Right Up Alchemy Hyper Real Glow Duo, and we're going to use that brush we used to try to swipe away fallout that didn't work, and we're going to use this as a highlight. So we're just rolling the brush in it. We're going to put this right here. Dryer's done. I'm going to wipe off some chapstick. We're going to use MAC's Retro Matte Liquid Lip Color in Caviar, and I'm going to edit this process out. We're going to tap that with Stila's Beauty Boss Lip Gloss, and the shade is in the black. I'm actually going to use a lipstick applicator. I'm going to take NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner in Alien, which is a black. If I wasn't a troll, I would have lined my lips first, like non-trolls would do. I'm just going to clean up this line under here. I'm going to edit this process out. I cannot remember the last time I used a lip liner. I really want this look to just be bomb. And so this is what we have. So, did you guess correctly? The Huda Beauty Palette is on this eye over here. A lot more rich than I thought it was going to be, which means Natasha is on this eye. What? Were y'all surprised? Were you surprised? I'm trying to... Let me know if you were surprised or not. I do like how both palettes perform. I do think it's preference. I do think the Empowered palette obviously is a little bit deeper. So if you're wanting more of the darker tones, the richer tones, even though these two columns here are lighter than some of the shades in Natasha's, for me, they would be blend out shades or buff out shades because they will not really show up on my skin tone. And so even between this one here and this one, that leaves me -3 shades, which would give me 15 shades, which are in here. Saying that, this shade here and this one and even this one may not show up on me. So I'm actually still receiving more shades to use from the Empowered palette than from Natasha's palette. I do really like both looks. This dual chrome here at the middle shade does remind me of a shade from Danessa Myricks, except Danessa's is way more vibrant than the one here in Natasha's palette. And dare I say, it was almost as vibrant as the dual chrome in the Empowered palette. But I really like both looks. I do think if you are trying to do the same look, like I tried to do the same look, then they're going to be similar. But are they the same? No, they're not. Empowered is deeper than Natasha's shades. And if you lean more towards lighter tones or lighter looks, then I would say get the Natasha palette. If you want more variety, if you want to use these two columns here and get lighter looks, and then use the rest of the palette for deeper looks, then I would say get the Empowered palette. Do you need them both? It's up to you. You might want the option of doing a darker look. Some days you might just want to pick up a palette and know that it's going to come out lighter. And I'm not saying you cannot get darker looks from Natasha's palette, because you can. If you're using the black to deepen out a corner, or even this brown here, which really was not that deep on me. It's not as deep as it looks. And you have this shade here. So you do have 3 deepening shades, but from here over, it's mostly midtones and neutrals. And yes, there are some shimmers there, but they're not the shimmers. You know what I'm saying? These two are shimmers, but they're not like POW type shimmers. And for those of you who have huge singles collections and from indie brands, you're going to put these on and be like, that ain't even shiny. You know what I'm saying? And so it depends on what you have in your collection, what your aesthetic is, and what you like. Keep in mind, I think this would be more of what people consider every day, and use this as a liner, this as a liner, that as a liner. Use these just to deepen. But other than that, you're going to get light looks out of this palette. I do think they would be really pretty looks though. And for the Empowered palette, you can get a dark look. You can spice it up. You can do halo eyes, and even with Natasha, you can too. But looking at this, I'm wondering, is this the deepest it's going to go? You know what I mean? Because you only have this to deepen, which is not as deep as it looks, that I didn't even use. This, you can deepen it, and I am going to use both of these as a shadow base. And then you have this one, which is really not that deep either. And so even looking at or comparing the deepening shades in this one to Natasha's, I think it's about the same. However, I do feel like with the shades that I used, this palette gives me more depth. And I do like a bold eye. I do like, excuse me, so rude, bright colors too, but I prefer darker tones. And knowing, you know, these shades here are not going to really give me that much depth, that leaves me with just this here, you know. And some people are saying both the golds look alike, so do you need both the golds? I haven't tried both the golds, and so I don't know. And so you just have to weigh what you prefer. But as far as similar looks, I've used the shades that to me look like they would be dupes, and this is what the looks came out to be. So if you're just going to use the light tones, then yeah, maybe the shades or the looks, excuse me, would look more similar. But for these to be similar shades, to me the looks are really different. And I do feel like if I wore this one day and wore this the next day, people would notice and be like, oh, this is a little bit darker than yesterday. And yes, I know this is a bomb ass lip. Like, I love the lip. And so I'm not going to say which one you should get, just your preference. If you do want the option to go deeper, I would say the Empowered Palette. If you want more of the safe and still have pretty, I would say Natasha's palette. I'm going to leave that there. So let me know your thoughts on both of these palettes. Which look do you prefer and why? Do you prefer Natasha's because it's lighter? Do you prefer Empowered because it's darker? Do you not like Empowered better because it is darker? I do think Empowered pops a little bit more. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that there. Thank you for being here for this experiment. And let me know if you plan on picking these up during the Sephora sale or not. Or if it's on your wish list for your birthday or holiday or whatever kind of day. And I'm not going to babble anymore. I'm going to go. Thank you for being here, and you will see me in the next video.